Welcome to Drafting Out Loud. Today we're going to be looking at the underdog market movers, and it's sponsored by the Leverage Lab. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at four risers that I think you need to be aware of right now, and I'll tell you why when we get to that part. Second, we'll look at the fallers, and we're going to identify some fallers that you shouldn't be scared of. And last but not least, we're going to look at the values. And there's one player that stood out in the values, and we're going to talk about that player a little bit. Let's get into it. First off, as far as our risers go here on our underdog market movers, we have four players who have just gotten passed around, are now in a round earlier. And now is, I think, the time to, if you haven't been drafting them yet, I think now's the time to get them before they move up even more. First one, well, actually, he's right at that cusp, is Ladd McConkey. He's at pick number 36.8. So he's basically the last pick of the third round or the first pick of the fourth round. And kind of expect him to keep on rising with all the hype he's getting across all the different channels. So if you can get Ladd McConkey towards the end of the third, or especially at the beginning of the fourth round, I think you got to take advantage of it now before he rises up in price. This might be one of those similar to Devonta Smith earlier, like in the pre-best ball, where I was like, okay, just take him at the end of the third and grab whatever player at the beginning of the fourth because it doesn't really matter a whole lot if you flip it around, but guarantee the player you want. So I think this might be one of those situations a little bit as far as Ladd McConkey goes, with the exception of someone like Zay Flowers. I think you want Zay Flowers instead. Number two, he is, I guess maybe not on this, not for the same reason. Well, but Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is actually rising. Look at this. He's up 1.1 picks in the last 7 days and zero point 0.7 picks in the last 2 days. So he's been rising over the last week, essentially. We probably want to take advantage of this knowledge, not waiting for him to fall further, but grab him now before he rises into the third round, basically. So, of course, there might be bad news that makes him fall further, but I think the fall has ended. So, if you were waiting to try and get a better price, the wait is over, and now is the time to draft. Next up, we got Byshell Tootin. Byshell Tootin's going to pick number 58. He's gotten some buzz recently. I was trying to get him into the sixth round. It's not happening though, and it's less and less likely to happen, I think, at this point in time. So I think you need to take him in that fifth round if you're towards the end of the fifth round. Similar to like Ladd McConkey, if you're at the end of the fifth round, don't push him to the sixth. Probably get him in the fifth and then grab someone else in the sixth, unless there's some kind of, crazy player that you want instead. So that's one, two, three, and then there's one more. That fourth one is Christian Watson, I think was it Christian Watson was the one? No, sorry, Josh Down. Oh no, there's a couple actually. Now that we look at it, um, we got Josh Downs, who is in this one. I mean, he's kind of expensive, but he's still rising a little bit. But Josh Downs is at the end of the ninth round, basic or end of the eighth round. I'm sorry, end of the eighth round. And so, again, someone you probably don't want to try to push to the ninth. You probably just want to take them in the eighth and get someone else in the ninth if you want to go that way. And then Jonathan Brooks. Jonathan Brooks has been rising 17 picks in the last 30 days, 2 picks in the last week. So his rise has slowed down, but he is still rising. He's at pick 108.8 now. That's basically at the end of the ninth round. So similar to these other players, I think in that ninth round, you just grab him and then you grab someone else in the 10th round if you're at that type of decision point. So I do think there's a lot of actionable data here as far as players that are rising, that are flipping rounds. Let's get them while we can still get them at essentially kind of that same round type of cost, even if we grab them slightly earlier. Because once they move into the middle of the previous round, then it's you just got to draft them earlier, and you're not going to get this. You're going to get unique combos. So getting the players now and then getting them later, you end up with more of those players at better prices, and you get unique combos because of it as well. As far as fallers go, I think there's a bunch of fallers that we don't want to be afraid of. Jeremiah Love, pass catching, top, third pick in the draft, almost into the third round here. Basically, he's falling still, so he might end up in that third round again. I think if you can get him in the third round, take him. He's one of those players I'd probably be pushing out of the second to try to get in the third, just because it seems to happen often enough. Roma Dunze, he's currently at the end of the fifth round. People are scared with his foot comments. They seem to be a nothing type of thing. So he's someone I wouldn't be scared of. I'd definitely be taking him in the end of the fifth, or even in this, or definitely the sixth if he falls to me there. T. Higgins, he's at the end of the third round. So using kind of our actual data here, I'd probably go Lad McConkey first and then see if T gets back to me in the fourth round or something like that. Uh, I wouldn't be afraid of T. T, the years he does great, he's like a second round pick where like George Pickens is. Um, and then the years he doesn't do great, he's like a fourth round pick or a fifth round pick or something like that. So right now he's, or like I guess maybe a third round pick, third, fourth, or fifth round pick. So I think taking him makes a lot of sense. And I believe there was one more that we had on this list as well. Um, I think those are the main ones right there. I think Darnell Mooney at the end of the draft is kind of interesting. I think Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt all the way pick 121 is interesting as well. More people are on Rachaad White before Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, so I'd probably take Rachaad White before Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt if I was going that route. Now, as promised, as far as the value players go, on Underdog, it's not usually that exciting. I'm not saying this is the most exciting pick, but if we scroll down to the bottom of the list, our 20th best value is Davante Adams. He is going at pick 50.9. Essentially, he is a fifth round pick on Underdog, while he's a fourth round pick on DraftKings. This one doesn't make sense to me. He's a pass catcher who isn't catching the most passes in the world, but the passes he catches are touchdowns. You'd think someone like that would be more expensive on an Underdog, not cheaper. So, as you know, I'm not one to like come up with a million takes, but I will look at what's going on with the data and try to figure out what we should be doing to get the best builds possible. And this is kind of saying that Davante Adams should be one of your picks on Underdog. Now, if we go look at the wide receivers here, you can see that he goes after Jalen Waddle, after Jamison Williams, after Tim McLaurin, Mike Evans, before DJ Moore, Christian Watson, Roma Dunze. I I do think he is in a good spot here as far as the wide receivers go. I think maybe he should go ahead of Jamison Williams just because Adams has, produced more, I think, overall, been more consistent maybe overall compared to Devontae Adams. But Jameson Williams obviously is a lot younger than Devontae Adams, so you got that. I think Devontae Adams should go ahead of David Montgomery at least as well. So I don't know how much movement he should get overall, but I think he's someone that maybe we should be considering a little more than the market is considering what's going on over at DraftKings as well. That is all I got for you today. Let me know if you like what you heard or if you found it interesting. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.